Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with the arduous moth. Today, I am back-ish doing with videos. I am feeling a lot better. Uh, all the support that I got, so welcome. So welcomed. Um, a lot of you guys were amazing. I'm still suffering from a loss of smell. It's not really a loss of smell. It's basically like I can only smell one thing, and it's like this really nasty smell, which I can't get rid of. Anyway, besides that, I want to talk about the UK ship tree. Um, it hasn't been announced yet. Well, it has. I mean, they've got it planned and everything. And it's like in the early stages of being designed. My best bet is that either the battleships, the battle cruisers, or the light cruisers will be first. I think the light cruisers will be first. If that's the case, then I feel like the light cruisers are going to be incredibly underwhelming. Because the US light cruiser line have been nerfed over and over and over and over and over again from a ridiculously overpowered state to a pretty balanced state, but I find them to be a bit boring, to be honest. Light cruisers are a bit boring in Naval 1945. Everyone wants to go after, the heavy cruisers, the super cruisers, the battleships, the dreadnoughts, or the aircraft carriers. Things which are interesting. Um, but the one thing which is getting me really concerned is what I like to call the gimmick system, where we have, I think, two ships in the game, two or three ships in the game right now, which have a gimmick. There's one which is a US destroyer, which has a speed boost. There's another one which has something else, and then I believe there's another one which has something else. I'm not entirely sure. But I feel like that the introduction of the Warspite with absolutely nothing, with the most basic stuff. Yes, she's on the strong side, but other than that, she's not really special. Um, Honestly, um, I feel like the UK tech tree, if it doesn't get anything special like Super HE, it's going to be extremely bland. It's going to be very bland because you're talking about battleships or like heavy cruisers and whatnot, which have very high, very exposed citadels, which have mediocre guns, which have pretty bad secondaries. The torpedoes are, I mean, they're pretty atrocious. The guns, again, I've just said, they're, they're all right. Um, Honestly, I think that the British should at least get Super HE. What I mean by Super HE is like a higher chance to set a fire, or have the HE do far more damage than what a normal HE shell of the same caliber would do. Like for example, 16-inch HE shell uh will do what, 900 damage, probably more than that. Um, it's probably about 700 to 900 damage. I'm not entirely sure, but it's around that level. But a British battleship HE shell will do probably twice that. That's what Super HE. That's what I think the British battleships and heavy cruisers should have as a gimmick. I think that the light cruisers should only get AP. only AP, which can do some significant damage to destroyers. Short fuse AP. Um, but honestly, I'm getting concerned with the amount of ships coming in which have nothing. Um, I'm not asking for crazy gimmicks. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for a variety to the game. Like, they could put in passive gimmicks. Like, for example, they could give a battleship which has built-in enhanced secondary dispersion, or maybe built-in enhanced secondary reload, or maybe a light cruiser which has enhanced reload on its main batteries, or maybe a light cruiser which has enhanced torpedo uh, armament. Armament. More than your standard amounts of torpedoes for a light cruiser. So instead of having like say, I would say like 16 torpedoes, you could have something like 32 torpedoes. Something like that, or an active gimmick. I would say put it on rare, like rare premiums or freemiums, or maybe exclusively tier 10. Like for example, like Musashi could get a active gimmick which lasts for a minute and gives it a dispersion buff by like say plus 20%, so its shells are 20% more accurate. That will be pretty cool. I would like that a lot. Um, but I am getting a bit worried with the lack of gimmicks, the lack of variety of the game. I mean, yeah, we're getting all these ships, which is nice, but the other thing which is worrying me is the German battleships are in World Warships. They're renowned for having pretty damn good secondaries, but I feel like that in Naval 1945, they're just going to be the same old crappy secondaries. I mean, what's the point of that? I mean, yeah, the Prince Eugen has some really potent secondaries, very potent secondaries for a heavy cruiser. I mean, she's more like a battle cruiser now. I mean, without the armor and without the battleship guns. But her secondaries are very good. But I just feel like they need to at least give these lines something unique about them. Because what's the point of adding in a completely new tech tree when it's the complete same playstyle as, say, the Americans and the Japanese? Like, what's the point? What is the utter point? I mean, there has to be a variety there. Give the Japanese big, punchy guns. Give the Americans lots of armor and lots of AA. Give the Germans very, very long range secondaries and a lot of secondaries, um, and make them relatively tanky. Make the British, uh, not that tanky, so they're quite vulnerable if you expose your broadside, and then make them, have, I don't know, super HE or super heal. Like, given British battleships from, like, I don't know, say tier 6 upwards or tier 7 upwards, a super heal would give massive variety. Yeah, that would be a huge variety. I mean, no doubt the developers will give it like instead of a 3 minute cooldown, it'll be a 6 minute cooldown because, hey. But I even given the tier 10, which I have a sneaky suspicion it's either going to be the Thunderer or it's going to be the Conqueror. Which, if that's the case, the Conqueror has pretty atrocious firing angles, and the Conqueror has a massively exposed citadel. The Thunderer would be a better pick, but I feel like the Thunderer will only be a developer ship only. That's what I feel like, because the Thunderer will probably be just a little bit too overpowered. But they could fit in the Thunderers somehow. Um, but yeah, I'm just getting a bit worried with the complete uh bare boned, like stripped down versions of these tech trees. Like they have literally no variety. Unless I'm missing something within the code, like maybe they do code differently for each line or each nation. I don't know. I mean, somehow they even messed up the Hidaka. Like it's not meant to have 457, it's meant to have 460. Like, admittedly, that's not their fault. Someone did point that out after like 3 years of the ship being in Naval 1918 and 1945. Um, but like they haven't even changed that. I just like it's either they've got their hands full or something else is going on. But you know, I think the first thing they can do to prove to the community that they're at least doing something is change the Hidaka's guns to 460 or 18.1-inch guns. No, that will not enable her to overmatch 32mm barrel plating because overmatch is not yet. I have heard from some people that it may have been confirmed by a developer or someone who's part of the team that overmatch might be coming into the game. If that's the case, and they do it very similar to World of Warships, that means that the Musashi is going to become extremely relevant because then you'll be able to overmatch ships like the Montana and the Iowa. Like, you come around the corner and you slap a Montana for like 20, 30,000 damage through the bow because you can overmatch his bow. That's if he's like bow in ish towards you. If he's angled, then you're not really gonna pen whatnot. But if Hidaka gets the same treatment and gets those 18.1-inch guns, that will enable her to completely dev strike. Even tier sevens are like poor tier 7 battleships are gonna get absolutely smashed. Um, the one thing I have noticed is if King George V is going to be tier 7, it is going to be one hell of a tanky tier 7. Like, King George V on World of Warships is already horrendously tanky. Like, the amount of damage you could absorb in the King George V is stupid. It is ridiculous. Um, but if they make her tanky in Naval 1945, then you could be seeing like an influx of King George V's like class super battleships or super dreadnoughts. Technically, King George V is technically a dreadnought battleship. It's like in between a battleship and dreadnought. Like the King George V has I think it has an all or nothing armor scheme. Basically means like the Americans where the citadel is very well protected, and you have a very well protected armor belt, which covers the main armor belt. Um, and you've got the Vanguard. The Vanguard, I feel like in Naval 1945 would be rather disappointed as a tier 8. If it's tier 9, it's going to be completely worthless, really. It's going to be completely worthless because you're talking about 381mm guns at tier 9. and those will be the smallest guns on a battleship at tier 9. Um, which will be rather stupid. Also, a few people have been speculating what the tier 9 and tier 10 are going to be for the Germans. Someone suggested that tier 10 will be the was it the H-46? Is it the 46, which has the 486 millimeter guns? Which, if that's the case, 486, those are like, the people don't understand of how big those guns are. Those guns are big, like massive guns. Um, and you've got the Sashin class, which in Naval 1918, yeah, they were relatively tanky. And then they were made even more tanky by Omni. Um, I think his name was Omniskin or Omniskin or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. We haven't talked in ages. Uh, I mean, mostly because he's been incredibly busy. I mean, bless his heart, he's been super busy with Naval 1918, trying to keep it alive. He's done a pretty good job. But Naval 1918, it's just falling apart now. It's a game which is on its last legs. I mean, the aiming system doesn't even work anymore. The secondaries bug out. The main batteries are they still operate, but I mean, for how much longer, really? So, Bismarck, I presume is going to be tier 8, unless Turpus is going to be tier 8. Like, when you think about it, oh god, when you think about it, a battleship with torpedoes, that's scary. I mean, I know in Naval 1918 there's plenty of battleships with torpedoes, but to actually have a battleship with torpedoes in Naval 1945, where torpedoes not only are they harder to see, but they are rather stealthy. Really, I mean, looking in binocular view, you can't really see torpedoes. But once you go out binocular view, you go into normal view or bird's eye view, then you can see them. Um, but yeah, I'm just worried about the UK tree and the German tree. Um, because if they have no variety, like if they have no gimmicks, if they have nothing special about them, then what is the utter point of grinding them? Like, what's the point? I'm not trying to shit on the developers at all. I'm not aiming for that at all. Um, because I know they're already working hard enough. But I just think that they really need to add something new. Like, for God's sakes, like it's not even just been me which has been asking for it, but for God's sakes, buff the heal. The heal, like a 3 minute cooldown. That is staggeringly long. That is super long. Way too long. Like, put it down to like the thing is if they put it down to a minute and a half, then they'll probably have to make the heals limited, which would be interesting. It would make fights last shorter. It would make torpedoes a lot more overpowered because right now torpedoes are horrendously overpowered at the moment. I mean, is the thing that annoys me is like when you do a positive complaint about the game, like people say, "Oh, it's a skill issue." Like I hate people like that. I honestly hate people like that because when you physically can't do anything to stop your demise and you die and you complain about it, and then people start picking on you and saying, "Oh, it's a skill issue, it's a skill issue." They do not understand the frustration that it brings. They have no idea of the frustration. So, I guess some of you are gonna be asking, like, am I back to making videos. Not at this time, no. I'm still not well enough to get back into videos. I don't even have my sense of smell is all over the place at the moment. Um, I keep on getting like dizzy flares, like where 1 minute I'll be fine, and then the next minute I'll get a rush of dizziness, which will make me feel like all like ooh, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, um, but I'm just worried for the game's health really. I know that the developers are trying the hardest, and they have shown some images of um uh what appears to be German DDs. Like if I just quickly show, where is it? It's here. Oh, Naval leak, something new. Oh, that's a light cruiser. What a surprise. I mean, it could be a DD actually. But this is German. This is definitely German. Probably tier 6 or 7. I mean, you got triple tubes, so probably T61. Not entirely sure. By the guns, those are 128s, which tells me that these are not gunboat DDs. So, and they've only got 4 guns, like 2 guns per turret, and they've got 4 guns overall. Um, it does have radar, which shows me, is this going to be the first line of ships to have radar? Like on DDs, like radar on DDs, really? You're going to implement radar on DDs when people have clearly been asking for counter against DDs in smoke? Like that will be the ultimate, uh, you know, Uno reversal card, because then DDs will be able to spot battleships while they're remaining smoke. Battleships are spotted, but they can't spot that will make DDs horrifically broken. It really would. Um, yeah, you've got. I don't know what this is. I first thought that it was the battle cruiser, the Constellation, but then I realized, well, the stern is wrong. It's not pointy enough. The ship is too short and whatnot. Um, you've got. I think this is like these are 105s or 128s, but you've got quad launchers by the looks of it. Those look like Tirpitz launchers. Is this said 31? I may be wrong, but this one has radar as well. Um, they wouldn't model the radar unless they were actually implementing radar into the game. So this could be a clear sign of radar coming into the game, which, if they do, then hats off to them. This I think this is a remodel or revamp of the tier 5 um American aircraft carrier. I can't remember what it's called. Is it Independence? I'm not entirely sure. Um, I'm not entirely sure. INDE, Indy. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know, but some people suggested that this was West Virginia, which I'll tip my hat off to them. That it kind of looks like it. But now people are suggesting this is a remodel of Colorado, which, if this is the case, then this is going to really buff Colorado's AA. This is going to be a serious buff to its AA. But yeah, like if this isn't a introduction, like if this isn't a big old fat announcement of radar, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Also, the Yamato, like all of this is dual purpose. Like you got to bear in mind that these, I think these are quads or 8 barreled single purpose AA guns, meaning that these are AA exclusive guns, and it has a lot of them. And then these are the dual purpose here. Um, like a lot of people said, oh, it's really sad that if Musashi gets this revamp, that it will lose its 155s. Honestly, the 155s they suck. They really suck. Unless you put on the reload mod, which is really, really dangerous to do nowadays in the game, because I tried it on my Musashi and the amount of times I lost my secondaries was insane. It was utterly insane. But the 155s are completely useless. Um, I think the Hidaka gets the same guns as these. So that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, but you know. So, I mean, this is a lot of AA. You got to take into consideration how much AA this is. This is a ridiculous amount of AA. It's a bit concerning. Like, this turret is gonna have horrendous firing arcs unless the turret is taller than it looks. It's gonna have horrendous firing arcs. We have to have a look here. Oh yeah, it'll be a turnaround. That's alright. Um, yeah, this is Yamato. That's Musashi. So maybe Musashi's not getting a reskin. But yeah, the 155s are totally pathetic. They are totally pathetic. Secondaries. Yeah, they're good, but the reload is so long on them. I think it's like 12 seconds or it's longer than that. I'm not entirely sure. It's just ridiculous, really. I feel like this could be set 52. I mean, you've got the classic flat booty. Um, you've got the Atlantic curve. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, really. But these ships are massive by the looks of it. These ships are absolutely huge. Like German destroyers, they're already big. They're basically mini light cruisers. Like the Elbing, like when the Elbing is added in, and we all know that the Elbing is going to be added in, or the Elblong as some people call it because it's so bloody big. But once that thing's added in, it will literally take the crown for the biggest DD in the game. I wouldn't even be surprised if they class it as a light cruiser, like a super destroyer. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. They are also, by the looks of it, they're also revamping the terrain, which is nice. I've seen this in action a few times. It has this plane which basically you can't shoot down, which is just fucking insane. You literally, it doesn't matter how much AA you have, it has so much health, it just tanks everything, and it is the dumbest thing ever. And then it just comes in, drops its payload, and then people are saying, "Oh, it's so unbalanced." It's not really unbalanced. I mean, it is literally just one aircraft. But the amount it drops is ridiculous. Yeah, these are the God damn. Yeah, you got Fargo. and everything. So yeah. So yeah, that's it for the moment, boys. Um, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. You know, the bow is so raised up is because it's to stop the Atlantic wave from cresting over. Yeah, that's why. Superstructure and details. Halfway done with the German DDs. That's pretty damn good. Yeah, I was right. Said 39. Uh, so yeah, that'll be it for me, guys. I know that video's been a bit boring, but I'm still not feeling right, and I just want to do this. I want to talk about this, to be honest. But yeah, the German DDs are halfway done by the sounds of it. Uh, that was today. It's 6 a.m. It's now 11, like 11:30. So yeah, they're halfway done with the German DDs, which is exciting. So obviously the German DDs will be coming first, which sort of doesn't make sense. Like you would expect the German cruisers to come first because you released a German premium cruiser. But anyway, it's not my game. I don't do anything like that. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna see you later. Peace.